where you are now, because this is Grown Man, which is your CD, and we'll get to that in a little bit more about it. Is that your first effort?
Actually, no. I have about 3 mixtapes prior to Grown Man, and I was very prideful in my mixtapes because mixtapes, as people know them, are primarily using industry beats, a popular beat, and then rapping over those popular beats.
Right.
Okay, to me, I was doing that back in '96.
Okay.
Prior to even the concept of making a mixtape came to my mind. We were doing mixtapes with original beats, original production, Chicago artists. I was engaging, Chicago artists to come and work with me in this effort. And I made 3 compilation CDs of this nature prior to the actual album. When I did the album, I wanted to make sure that I came off on a completely different level where I would say, okay, this is my official freshman album. I said, I'm going to put this effort, I'm going to put a lot behind this. So we had some investment. We did the music video for the single. We had the PR firms going on here and there. I was getting write-ups in the periodicals. I had the page spread in the Sun-Times, and things like that were happening.
Okay.
So with that first album, Grown Man, which is officially my freshman effort, what I consider to be my freshman effort, we put that album push into it, and we put that budget behind it so that it sounds the way it was. Whereas with the mixtape, we were recording in the basement studios and your friend's house and things like that, where we were able to turn out what I feel is that true, core hip hop music.
Okay.
How I feel it is. That's what we were doing at the time.
Okay.
But we had to evolve, and when we wanted to bring out the album, we wanted to say, okay, this is the level that we wanted it to be on.
Okay.
So that's what the attempt was. And with the album, you'll notice as you start, it becomes a book. So in the beginning, it's kind of like a magazine, where the content is not so much there. The lyrical ability is definitely there. But I wanted to be able to pull in the basic mind and say, okay, we're able to do the pop sounding, the commercial sounding, top 40 sounding music. But as you got further into it, you'll notice, besides just looking at pictures, bam, here goes more and more words, and the book becomes deeper. And you start to realize that there's a lot more content behind who this artist is. That was what I attempted to do on that.
Okay. And I've been listening to Grown Man for the past couple of days, in preparation for the show. It's a great effort. I think the album is great. I was particularly in love with the track number 15. I'm trying to remember the title of it.
You got deeper into it, and I appreciate that. Reflections.
Reflections, exactly. Now, whoever the young lady you had singing the hook, did a great job of Reflections. It just took me to another place.
Gotcha.
Just personal. It's just sitting there listening to it. I found myself just thinking about different things, in my life, not just gravitating to that song. Your style, now Grown Man is your official freshman effort. How would you describe your style? How is it similar and how is it different from other mainstream Latin artists that we may be familiar with the Big Puns, the late Big Pun, Fat Joe, and artists like that?
Well, with those names that you did mention, I do have a lot of respect for those guys. And in the early '90s, when Fat Joe was really breaking into the scene, even in the late '80s, he was doing music. I was exposed to that, and I appreciated the fact that there was somebody out there that was representing, my ethnic background and saying, okay, well, this is what we're doing, and it's hip hop music. But as he gradually grew, he's making the more commercial sounding stuff. That's kind of the popular genre that's going on right now. And I appreciate that, and I respect that. That's his direction that he was moving towards. What's different, what I'm doing right now is that although I can do that, that's not my primary focus.
Okay.
What differentiates me from Fat Joe is that I'm doing more Spanish, just a little bit more Spanish, where what differentiates me between Big Pun is not very much at all. Highly lyrical. He can do the commercial sounding material. He can do the really hip hop sounding material, which I appreciate a lot. And the wordplay, very, very nice. The way he structures it, the way he puts it over those beats. So it makes you appreciate not just the artistry, but if you're into it, like me, being a writer, when I listen to music, I scrutinize it highly, because if it's written poorly, I see that. Okay. So when I see something like that, the composition of the way the wordplay was put together, it's advanced.
Okay.
So it's like looking at a lot more advanced piece of work. Like, let's say you're in a gallery and you see some art, and you see something very simple. And it
Mm-hmm.
might have several different meanings, but then you see something that is very complex.
Mm-hmm.
And you ask several different people, you say, what does this mean to you? What does this look like to you? And they'll have several different ideas of what
Mhm.
that very same picture means. That's the complexity behind that piece of art.
Mm-hmm.
That's how this man was able to do it.
Okay.
Speaking of pun, and I
Okay.
think I'm able to bring, a level of that lyricism.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, that's great. Well, first of all, I gotta say, congrats on you won a Chicago Music Award last year. You're nominated again this year.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very much.
You know, on that. Good luck to you on that. That's good business. Rap critics point to the glorification of sex, drug culture, and violence, et cetera, to condemn hip hop. And even hip hop enthusiasts are becoming more and more disappointed with the current direction of rap music. What's your personal take on rap music quickly?
To be quite honest, I make music in high volumes.
Mm-hmm.
In order for me to really take my music to a higher level, to make it smoother, make the delivery crisp, and make all the lyrics really, really nice and smooth flowing. To make it a flow, I really study a lot of my own music, and I hate to sound biased, but I barely get a lot of chance to listen to what's on the radio.
Okay.
I barely get a chance to really study, because since I make so much music, sometimes I'll sit in a day and I'll record 4 songs. When I'm in the official studio making the album, I'm finishing 4 songs within 2 hours, and they're like, okay, what's next? And I'm
Okay.
like, well, my part is done. I'll sit behind so we can make sure that everything's arranged properly to where I feel is good.
Okay.
But the problem with that is that in my opinion, what I'm hearing on the radio really doesn't interest me. It doesn't really stimulate me.
Okay.
It's not something that I want to listen to when I'm waking up in the morning to get, excited and pumped and motivated, or in the club, you listen to anything that has a nice beat.
Right.
But that's not the same music that I'm going to listen to stimulate myself.
Okay.
So,
Okay. As a Latin hip hop artist, has it been harder for you to be taken seriously in what is considered by many to be a black musical genre?
well, if you go back into the history of hip hop, you'll know, that when you're talking about prior to like freestyling and MCing, you got the DJs, you got the B-boys, and you got the MCs, and you got the writers.
Mhm.
Okay, these elements of hip hop. Within those elements, you got blacks and Latinos.
Mhm.
There's even whites sprinkled
Mhm.
into that. We can't
Mhm.
deny that.
That's
okay.
true.
With that being said, you see at the time the Latinos are excelling in, the b-boying and the writing, not so much being lyricists. Okay, but in Chicago, I speak for myself. If you're able to embrace that, and if you're able to appreciate another artist, because we're known as people who are haters and this and that, but I really don't get that vibe. I've really gotten very, very welcoming, open arms
Mhm.
from all the people who have listened to me perform.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, beloved, don't move, because on the other side, we're going to take a pause for the cause. When we return, be blessed with the style. PRism.